in all things. Your brain, it's a ball of fat powered by electricity. Everything is energy. The feeling you get when you hold your hand so close to something, not yet touching, but you can still feel the heat radiating off or being leached from your skin. Energy. We have some particular protocols for each level of energy infusion, but we're going to have to take a little scan of your energy levels before we get into that. Just taking a preliminary little look. Let me show you what we're looking for. This person right here shows us some of the signatures that we might find in a person when we're looking at their energy. We have our energy just above the surface of the body. We might find holes, spikes, areas where it's more normal. We might have concentrated areas where it's very thin. And along the surface of the body, spikes, concentrations, gaps, so on and so forth. And we'll look at each level of your energy from above the body, the surface, just below the skin, deep in the brain, and the energy lines along the body. So I'll have this little blank guy to help with that, as well as our little colored pencils. So I have two tools for this. First, I've been using my hands to get a good look, at least just to start, but we can also use a little scanning tool, but both of these are not going to be as effective if we don't amplify, if we don't give your energy a little spark, a little charge. So, let me see. There we are. You know how solar panels work, right? At a basic level. Where they absorb the energy of the sun to charge a battery, to then give energy, right? We see those with little solar-powered lights where they use the energy from the day to light at night. Or even if we think of glow-in-the-dark stars, or even those little glow-in-the-dark rocks you put outside, they absorb energy so they can release it later. And that's what we're doing here. We're just giving your energy a bit of a charge so that it can release some of that energy and become much more vibrant. There. So let's see what we got. Just looking at the surface here. Let's see. This is going to be our color for that. So we're looking at that. We've got right here at the head. Okay. And along the shoulders here. Down the arms. Right there. Good. And torso. Legs. Good. That's certainly going to need a little bit of work. Now, looking along the surface, so I might just touch you a little bit, if you don't mind. It helps to pick up some of that energy. It feels a little staticky. Okay? Alright. There we are. Good. Do you know our fingertips are so sensitive that if we were to touch the earth, the entire earth, our fingertips would be able to feel the distance between individual houses, even on a scale as large as the entire earth. Very sensitive. Our mouths are more sensitive even than that. It's why babies put things in their mouth to get information, because it's more sensitive than their fingers. Just feeling around here, just taking a little feel. I'm just doing these quick little swipes. Yes, I can get a good reading, and we have orange for our surface, so picked up quite a bit here at the face. Nice big concentration here. And then, yes. Okay, not so much here, but yes, in here. Good. rather weak overall. A good distribution, but not great on the thickness of everything, so get a little bit more info. Luckily, the energy inside can blend together a bit. So we're just going to grab this. And I'm just going to have you hold still here. And we're going to get a reading of the brain. There we are. You're doing excellently. Excellently. And along the meridians. And down. Yes, and I'm going to get deep and around the organs and inside the bones, muscles. Yes, I think that'll do quite well. So I've got a little screen that can tell me. So this is the brain. And this is our deep concentrations. Just under the surface, which isn't too bad, it's just got a lot of gaps. Good. Our lines here. A little kinked up here. Okay. Let me show you what we've got. So, this is your workup here. So, brain's a little scattered about. Our lines here very disjointed and kind of kinked. Some gaps and low energy outside. The surface energy is barely there. Deep energy is all over the place, although there's a nice concentration right here. And just under the surface is pretty decent, but just a lot of gaps. So let's put this away and get to work. Now, just for simplicity's sake, we've named these different steps, these different types of energy that we infuse, just alphabetically. So I'm going to need some light to help replenish for our A waves. So our A waves are just along, or just above rather, the surface of the body. And so I'll charge it up a little. because even though we had charged your energy before, it was pretty pale. And this just helps disperse what we've got going on. There we are. Sometimes it helps to stimulate with a bit of sound. We'll just do a little. Nothing too crazy. But then we can do some light tapping to help stimulate everything. There. Very easy to get our A waves in order. And just kind of scan over. See, this is where I can feel that energy as it radiates off, and it's actually my energy that's radiating. Yours is pulling mine in like a cold area. It's cold in that it is pulling energy from heat, leaching it. Good. Yeah, A waves are pretty simple overall. The other ones get progressively harder. Okay. Well, let's move on to B waves, and we're going to need the assistance of a little substance here. B waves. B waves are on the surface of the skin. So we need a little bit of friction here. We need to create a little bit of heat. We're going to have to probably do some replacing here, going off of our guide. Okay. So, on the skin, what my job here is to do is to pluck out bits and replace them. Need a little bit of heat along the way, because this is going to help establish a foundation of energy. Just pulling and releasing. Yes, B waves. Releasing. Good. we start gently infusing our energy back. So what you had just was not cutting it. I'm just going to use my fingers and gently resurface. And I'm only using the 2 fingers so that your energy, as it pulls from mine, can only take this little bit. It's like instead of dumping an entire bucket in one spot, you use a little spout or a nozzle to control the flow. There. It's running all over your head here. There we are. Now, do you feel any sort of sensations? A common one is, of course, going to be heat. You might experience tingling. You might even get a little bit of cold, as I would pull out bits of the energy. Anything like that at all? Mm-hmm. Just using my fingers to just give you little strands of energy that you use to weave together and create a stronger barrier. Good. Okay. Now our sea waves is going to go right underneath the skin here. So we're going to need something to open everything up a little bit. So we're going to use some special mist here. And that just allows us to get a little deeper just underneath the skin. So I'm going to hold my hand over your face here just so we can get a little bit of mist going. Should do that, at least just for now. Let me look and see. Just as the mist falls on the skin, it creates these little pockets where we can press the energy in, and it goes right down into where we need it. So for our sea waves, we are going to be pressing our energy in, pressing it in. And we might just do a little kind of stipple here. Stipple. Might even use all of our fingers here just to stipple in. Just to stipple in the energy, but for now we'll just press that in. Just like that, picking strategic points according to your chart to press in our energy. And luckily this is a fairly thin layer. Press. That I can just use single fingers. Just like that, and maybe right in here, and right here, right here, press. Just like that. And then we can stipple everything. Stipple. It's a little difficult to stipple without a brush. But we're basically just doing these little tapping motions. Each finger has a different pressure, a different shape, different size, so that the energy is quite varied. Just like that. On the arms. On the legs. There. This is where we get even just a little bit trickier. For our D waves here, we actually are going to employ the use of a crystal. So, let's see what we've got. Need something with a good point. We have a little agate shard, for example. And then maybe there's actually quite a bit of agate in here. This is a banded agate, I believe. That one's a good candidate. carnelian, maybe. There we are. There's one last one. I like the striations in this one quite a bit. So we just need to see what your energy responds to. So I've got a little reflex hammer here, and this will be advantageous for us. Okay. Possibly. Not so much. Better. Let's run her up. Definitely not. So, this was a maybe. Okay. I like that one. How about you? Yeah, let's use that. So, like with the poking and the misting, I need to be able to create little pockets in which we can go deep into the body. That's what this is for. Call it a bit of crystal surgery, if you will. I'm just going to go around poking these little holes. It's almost like aerating the lawn. You've got to give some entry points. So that we can get that energy in. Luckily, we've got this rubber mallet here so that we don't damage the crystal and we don't do any damage to your energy. And we'll do a couple special spots here. There. Now let me draw some of this out. Because we had some high concentrations. Remember, we particularly had one in the shoulder here. Pull that out. Just draw all this out and start again. Now, because this energy is neutral, is universal, it might feel a little strange as it transforms into something specifically your energy, as it morphs and changes and gets with the program. It's gonna feel a little odd, almost like wearing someone else's clothes after wearing them for a certain period of time. Then eventually it just feels like yours. But that first little bit's odd. I suppose I should say wearing a stranger's clothes. Alright. created some access points, got rid of some things, so now we're going to do a deep push. 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 Deeply pressing energy in, and this is where we got the 5-finger touch here, because it comes in short little bursts, so we've just got to press that in as best as we can. There we are. Press that in. Good. And just basically, we're throwing darts at the wall and seeing what sticks. That's why we've got to go big. Not everything will get into the little access points. So we're just flooding it. There we go. Good. And we've just got a couple more waves to go. E-waves. We're going to do a little bit of tapping in, and I'm going to use this little wooden tool for that. So again, access points, but we need it a little deeper. Deep into the brain here. A little bit of rubbing. It's almost like exfoliating, really. Massaging the energy into the brain. And then, let's see. There we go. F waves, these are along the whole body, that's those meridians. I'm going to use my fingers like rakes or combs and trace the lines to open them up. Follow them up. lessen our energy, flooding the area. Even the head. Gripping and letting go. Let's take a look. Just kind of look in here. It's a lot more vibrant, so we don't even need to really use the light to charge anything. We're just looking here along the surface. And let's get a good little map. And we'll just use this to get around the head. Just hold still. Deep into the brain. Meridian lines. Skin surface. Just below. See any concentrations. See what we can do there. Okay, so looking at your before chart, we've definitely evened things out. The outside is more vibrant, but it also isn't so spiky in places. There aren't any gaps underneath. The meridian lines look a lot cleaner. It's like someone just came and straightened them out. Brain's more contained. Yeah, no, that's pretty darn good. That concludes your energy infusion. We were able to straighten things out quite nicely. So, might feel a little weird while your energy fuses with yours and becomes yours entirely. Other than that, you should feel a whole lot better. I'd like to thank you so much for allowing me to do this infusion. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you. Bye now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon, without which I wouldn't be able to make these videos. If you'd like to help support the channel, I have a link to my Patreon in the description box below. I offer perks like early and ad-free access to videos, Patreon exclusive videos, and audio downloads of all my content. and a good rest of your night.